Good morning. Welcome to this Wednesday reflection. This week I have the opportunity of sharing with you a little bit of information I found out about the largest statue of Jesus that was ever erected back in 2010. It measures 108 feet from head to toe and was raised in a field near a small Polish town. You can actually watch a YouTube video where you see a crane raising this large statue and putting it into place. This statue is said to rival the vast Christ the Redeemer statue that stands in Rio de Janeiro. I read that there is an article in the New York Times of an interview with the Catholic priest who was the one who had organized this project, and he said, "I hope it will have a religious mission and not just bring tourists." The article goes on to say that in Poland, where 90% of the people there are Roman Catholics, actual church attendance had dropped to 40% in rural areas and 20% in the metro areas. When the non-churchgoers were interviewed about why this was, well, they said that the church was no longer relevant to modern times because it was too focused on issues and supporting political parties. It seems that it doesn't matter how big the statue was. Those folks had no intention of going back to Mass. You know, I think it is safe to say that we all want tangible assurance about faith, right? We would like some sort of sign about the reality of God to guide us when we are full of doubts. Do you ever wish you had a sign from God so you would know for sure? This could very well have been the thinking of those back in Isaiah's time, back over 3 millennia. At the time of King Ahaz, he was looking for a sign from the prophet Isaiah to confirm that God was looking out for his kingdom. Ahaz governed under the shadow of the powerful Assyrian government and wanted a sign that God was with him. I read that Isaiah likened the reign of Ahaz to a stump, a cut-off tree, but hoped that a shoot would come from that stump and renew the nation. The only sign of prophecy that Isaiah was willing to give is that the Davidic kingdom dynasty would come and continue. That the wife of Ahaz would bear a son, and he would be called Emmanuel, God with us. Let me share this passage with you. Bear with me. I skipped past a bunch of the names that are at the beginning of this chapter because, my goodness, that they were difficult to pronounce. So I have chosen to just share with you chapters 10 through 14, and this is read from the Message this morning. God spoke again to Ahaz. This time he said, "Ask for a sign from your God. Ask anything. Be extravagant. Ask for the moon." But Ahaz said, "I'd never do that. I'd never make demands like that on God." So Isaiah told him, "Then listen to this. Government of David, it's bad enough that you make people tired with your pious, timid hypocrisies, but now you're making God tired. So the master is going to give you a sign anyway. Watch for this. A girl who is presently a virgin will get pregnant. She will bear a son and name him Emmanuel, God with us. By the time the child is 12 years old, able to make moral decisions, the threat of war will be over. Relax. These 2 kings that have you so worried will be out of the picture. But also be warned, God will bring on you and your people and your government a judgment worse than anything since the time of the kingdom split, when Ephraim left Judah. The king of Assyria is coming." As we hear this, didn't do much for Ahaz. As he continued to look for signs from God's favor, he consulted astrologers, fortune tellers, and basically tried every religion under the sun to try to find assurance of God's favor, I read. He was actually the king who put an idol of a serpent in the temple and restarted the practice of human sacrifices to the gods. This is certainly going pretty far to appease his doubts. But none of this ever worked for Ahaz, mainly because he would not do what Isaiah had constantly said, which was simply to govern with wisdom and justice and not let the powerful oppress the weak. So he is constantly disappointed in his quest for the divine. You know, it's fascinating to me what happened with this passage over time. Matthew read this passage and saw Jesus as the fulfillment of Isaiah's hopes. Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us. One of my favorite hymns, O come, Emmanuel. I like its hope that the Spirit of Christ will continue to come among us so that we can indeed rejoice. And this leads me back to where we started today. Emmanuel, God with us. We all want to sense that God is with us in some meaningful way, from Isaiah to Ahaz, Matthew to you and me. And I think that resounding message of Scripture and Christianity through history is that if you take a deep and loving look within, you will find God with you. Listen deeply, and you will hear the wisdom of Jesus for your own ears, for your own life. May it be so as we continue this walk with the prophet Isaiah through these days of Advent. Amen.